This is the second part to my podcast episode. If you didn't listen to the first part, which is about saying goodbye to yourself, I think I titled it Goodbye to Me, as you're going on your transformational journey and growth. And I talked quite a bit about the process I went through when I had to get away for a while, right? Just to really evaluate, how do I see myself? How does God see me? And I didn't even realize that there was a healing journey that you have to go through when you let go of the old version of you. So you can go back and listen to podcast episode number 1 to just sort of, listen to that and get a full understanding of what I'm talking about. But part 2 is about embracing leadership. We all were called to be leaders. We all are. In Genesis 1:26, it says, then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea. And it goes on to talk about the birds of the air and the livestock, etc. And in verse 27, it says, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. And it got me to thinking, well, what does that mean? If he created us in his image, and we already know that he rules over. We already know that he's creative, right? We already know that he's bold, he's courageous, right? That means that there's a seed of leadership inside of each and every last one of us. Or we can call it a seed of greatness inside of each and every last one of us. And sometimes when that opposition may come our way, sometimes we may doubt that and wonder if it's really there. My call to action for you all is, it's time that we step up into the leadership role that God has already preset and ordained for us, because we all are called to be leaders. We all are. We all are called to rule over our assignments. We all have that inside of us. This is probably why I love watching I don't care. First of all, I'm not even into sports. Let me just say this. But ironically, I could be watching Tiger Woods play golf, or I could be watching, I don't know, because I'm really not into sports at all, but a famous ice skater skating on ice, or someone playing the piano, masterfully or whatever. And I'm so drawn in to watching it in that moment. And you all know I don't even watch TV, so it's rare that I even get to see any of this. But anyway, I'm so drawn in, and what I'm looking at, it could be anything. It could be somebody playing a harp. It could be anything. It could be somebody out on a street corner playing a flute so brilliantly. I'm attracted to mastery. I'm drawn to the mastery because I love seeing people rule over their assignments. And that's what I'm calling you all to do. Step into leadership. Step into the role that God has for you. Ruling over the assignment that God has given you. That's what we all are put here to do. Understand who God is, see ourselves through his eyes, identify that God-given talents that he's given us, and to walk in it masterfully as we rule over our assignment. That's the way that I like to put it. Ruling over our assignment. So my call to action for you is step into leadership. Look at this passage and just meditate on it for a couple of days. What does it mean that God created me in his image? What does this mean that he created man in his image, that we are to walk and talk and think and act like him? What does that mean in Romans 8 when it talks about we are an heir of God? What does that mean for my life? How do I see myself? And how do I want to show up as a leader and rule over my assignment, the territory that God has given me? That's what I want to see you walking into in this year. I love you all. I pray that you're greatly encouraged. I don't want to close this episode out without saying thank you to many of the members of the Unlocking Greatness community, but I really want to thank you all. I know some of the recent testimonies you all have said that you've changed tremendously, that you've grown. There's one person in particular, she's going to smile when she listens to this, but she said the other day, she said this in our live workshop. She said, Z, I didn't even know how to use a computer. I didn't even know how to really do much of anything. And not only am I running my own coaching program and my own webinars, now she has her own shop up, and now she has her own recipe cookbook. I mean, she's just doing so phenomenal. She said, I'm just so grateful at the growth that I've had and I've experienced since I've joined the Unlocking Greatness community. And I say that, let me be clear, I say that not as a bragging tool. I say that in that I'm making a point. Many times we don't understand or know that there's a seed in us, and that we have the leadership capability that God has given us, until we get ourselves into the right environment where some other people, right, can see that in you and say, no, you can do this. And that very same member, and I know she's going to laugh when she hears this, when I very first challenged her to start a webinar and we were, helping her get situated with all of that, she's just like, I don't know the first thing about having a webinar. And one of the challenges that I gave her, not only myself, but members in the community is, not only are you going to have one, how about you reach out to make sure that you have at least 20 people to be in your very first webinar by this, I can't remember. I think I said by this Thursday or something like that. And at that time, it may have been a Sunday or Monday. And she was like, are you guys kidding me? And guess what? She did it. And then she turned around, we challenged her, do it again next week. And she did it again next week. And she continued to do it until she got extremely good at it. And then she's like, maybe I can launch a program around this. Then she launched a program. Then she came up with another program. Then she came up with a podcast. We challenged her on starting her own podcast. Then she came up with her own cookbook. And now she's got another program out. You see my point? That leadership, that it was always within her. But it needed to be nurtured and brought forward. So what I'm challenging you all, two things I'm challenging you. One, get yourself into a good community, a good mentorship community, a good environment where that leadership can be nurtured. It can be nurtured, where people can encourage you and help you to take bold steps and bold actions this year to step into the assignment God has for you and to rule over it. Get yourself into a good environment like that. And number two, nothing trumps the Word of God. Stay into the Word of God. Meditate on his passages day and night. Go into the scriptures, take deep dives, get away even by yourself and really evaluate, how do I really see myself and how am I really showing up? What am I afraid of? Am I really afraid of what people think about me? Or why haven't I done this or that? And especially for those of you who already see yourselves as leaders, because I know there's some of you out there who feel like, hey, I'm fearless Z, I don't have that problem. Well, take it higher. Take it to another level. Some of you are in jobs and corporate positions or what have you, but you know that there's a dream, there's a gift, there's something God has put inside of you, and you've not taken that major quantum leap is what I call it, that major quantum leap to step into that role and do what God has told you to do. How about taking it higher and doing that? And for those of you who are business owners, take it higher. Your company's doing well, great. How about now you take it global? You get my point? Let's let this be the year, by the grace of God, that we humbly, I think we have to be authentic. We have to be humble. We have to keep pride far from us. You never need to manipulate anyone. You have to be truthful. So let me just say that. But let's let this be the year that we show up. We show up. We honor the scriptures and we live, walk, and breathe what God has told us. We are heirs. He made us in his image. And we are meant to lead. We are meant to rule over our assignments. So my challenge for you all, embrace leadership. Let this be the year that you embrace leadership and you make the commitment to get the help that you need and be in the right environment with the right group of people to get that inspiration and that encouragement that you need to take things even higher. I love you all. I'll see you soon. This is Z with Unlocking Greatness Podcast.